welcome all of you, all the attendees, and also all of you guys who will watch this in the recording later. Welcome to the Transform 2022 conference. And yeah, my topic today will be mostly dedicated, or not mostly dedicated, it will be only dedicated to one big demo. So for the next 45 minutes, what we will try to do, we will try to assemble actually a quite an interesting thing, and my purpose here is to show you how easy it is to do that with the Microsoft services. We will try to assemble something that may look like a smart lock. So that smart lock, it will recognize you and only you by the photo, let's say, and if it's basically the allowed user, it will let it pass. If it's not the allowed user, any other basically random person or something like that, it will not allow that person to pass. And again, as I was saying, we will have only 45 minutes and we will be doing everything hands-on together with you. The reason why I decided to took that for a demo was because a long time ago I was talking to a Microsoft person, and that person said to me that, you know what, Microsoft is trying to do all the hard and complicated stuff really simple for the actual users, for the actual developers. And I was not, before that, I was not thinking in that way about the Microsoft. And today I would actually try to use that example to show you that, yeah, a really complicated stuff may be made quite simple with those technologies. So what I will be doing right now, I will be sharing my screen first of all, and I will be sharing this screen. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen. I hope you can see the Azure portal. So what I have here for now, I have the empty resource group, and what we will be doing, we will be creating a new instance basically of the face API that I will be using for face recognition. I'm doing creating the resource, and here I'm just typing face in the search bar, and here the face API is what I need to look for. Here, as you can see, face from Microsoft Azure service, the AI service that analyzes faces and images. This is exactly what we need. Create. And while I will be creating it, so what I will need to do, I will need to choose the region, I will need to choose the name. Let's do transform 2022, something like that. And the pricing tier. So the reason why I wanted to show you this UI is because I want to show you that for each Azure subscription, you are allowed to have one free pricing tier of Face API. As you can see, the limitations here are no more than 20 calls per minute and no more than 30,000 calls per month, which is pretty much enough to do your average hands-on lab, which is more than enough actually to give you an understanding of how to work with the service. Unfortunately, I already claimed this free pricing tier, so I will be doing the standard tier. And also, I would like to show you this link here, view full pricing, because when I will be clicking that, you will see that what I'm basically having here for the standard tier, I'm having 10 transactions per second. This will be the throughput of this API, which is pretty good. And here you will see the actual pricing tier. So I will pay $1 for every 1,000 of my transactions. The reason why I'm showing you this is also because if by any means you are unable to use the free pricing tier, but still you want to do some hands-on, you want to play with the service a bit, even in that case, even if you will go with the standard pricing tier, as you can see, $1 or maybe $2 will be more than enough for you to do that. Actually, I do believe that for $1, even in Ukraine, you will be unable to get a cup of coffee, even on a drive-in in McDonald's. So anyway, this is an extremely good offer. It's extremely cheap. Anyway, let's get back here. So what we'll be doing here, we need to allow, sorry, we need to accept the policies that Microsoft is enforcing us to accept, but this is okay. So we will not be using this subscription for something that is not allowed by the law. Then what we can also do, we can configure on the networking level, do we want to allow everyone to access it, or do we want to limit it to the private network in case we're working in the enterprise and in case only the private services will use that, so we may want to isolate that on a network level as well. Then we can enable or disable the managed identity. We will not go into the details of that for now. Then we can specify tags, and that's basically it. As you can see, really easy. Only a few questions that basically need to answer. And now we're pressing create, and the service will be up and running in a few minutes. Because I don't want you to stay here and see how the paint dries, I will show you this resource group. So this is the resource group that I was using for my pet project. As I was saying, you can see that the name of this resource group is kind of implying that I'm creating an IoT lock. And this is my dev environment. What I'm having here, the things that are really important for this demo, I'm having the face API instance, the same instance that I've just created in another resource group, and also I have the storage account here. The reason why I have the storage account here is because what I will be doing, I will be uploading a bunch of different photos with different people, and then when I will send my queries to the face APIs, I will just put the links, the URLs basically for those photos in the storage account and ask to either find the person on that photo or to do something like that. And another thing that I want you to show is this. Probably you would not expect to see something like this, especially in a Transform conference, but nonetheless, let me just elaborate why I'm doing that. So the idea is that for all the cognitive services, and the Face API is a part of the cognitive services, Microsoft provides you with a lot of different SDKs for Java, Python, .NET, JavaScript, whatever. But the things here is because Microsoft is providing you an access to the cognitive services as to a service. It means that you are getting access to those things through the API, and that API is so simple and so easy to use that today I'm on purpose not using any SDKs at all. I'm doing that the hardcore style. I'm just having the Postman collection, and I will be just sending all of my requests through the Postman, and you will see how easy it is actually to do that. So a few details about this API. So first of all, you need to have this URL, and this URL almost every time will be the same. As you can see, the only thing that will be different here is the name of the data center. So because I will be using for the demo purposes, I will be using this guy here. This instance of the Face API was deployed to West Europe. So when I go through it, you see that the endpoint here is West Europe, sorry, API cognitivemicrosoft.com. Also, if I will go here to keys and endpoints, I will be able to use the keys from here. If I will press show keys, it will show me the actual values, and I can easily do that now because right after the conference, I will in any case regenerate those keys, so no one will be able to use my instance of the Face API. But nonetheless, this is how you can do that. What you will need to do with those keys, you will need to go to your HTTP request, you'll need to go to headers, and there is a header here called OCP API Management Subscription Key, and here you have one of those keys. Either the first one or the second one, they are both identical. So one of them you put here. So now let's try to inspect basically what I have here in my headers. As you can see, almost all of the headers are the default headers. Let me actually hide them. Yeah, that will make more sense. So I'm providing one header with my key to access that instance of the API, and another header is the application JSON. Now let's take a quick look at the parameters and actually that for now I will be showing you the easiest API that you can use. It's called Face Detect. This API will take a look at the photo and it will try to detect all of the faces that are there on this particular photo. So here, as you can see, I'm asking the API to explicitly return the face ID, because when this API will recognize this face, I will be able then to use this face ID to set, okay, so you found this face on this photo, please use this face as, I don't know, let's say an owner of the apartment, and allow it in as soon as he will ring the doorbell. And also, I can explicitly ask to return things like face landmarks. So it will show me that the nose is here, the mouse is here, here are the ears. Now, if we will take a look at the body, you will see that I have a link to an image here to the actual photo. So those photos, I have them here also locally. So let's try to use this photo. I'm not with my best haircut on this photo, but anyway, I will put the name, I will put it here, and now I will send the request itself. And you will see what we will get in response. Okay, we get a response. So it was able to find, if I'm not mistaken, yes, it was able to find exactly one face. It returns me this as a face ID, which I will be able to use in my other queries or commands further. It shows me the face rectangle in pixels. So if I will have a nice UI, I can also display the actual photo and I can also draw a rectangle on top of that, showing basically that this is the actual place of that face. And as you can see, for the face landmarks, it returns me the pupil left, pupil right, nose tip, mouse left, and so on and so forth. Where are my eyebrows, and so on and so forth. All the nerdy information that I may want to know about myself on that particular photo. Okay, let's try to send some other photos. For example, here, as you can see, this is another guy. I hope I have his consent to use him during this demo. If I don't, then sorry. I will send his face. Yep, and as you can see, it also was able to find just one face. It returns me the rectangle and the landmarks. Let's try to see what I have next. Okay, on this photo, we have two people. Let me copy the ID of this photo, paste it here, send it again. And now, as you can see, it returns me the face ID of the first person and then the face ID of the second person. So the same API, but on this particular photo, he was able to find two faces. How I can understand which one is which? I can use the face rectangle data. So this one, the top and left are lower. So I'm assuming that this face will be on the top left corner. So it means that this ID should be on the bottom right corner. So this is my face and the face of the other person, my friend and my coworker. His face is with this ID on the top left corner. This guy name is Alex, by the way. So additionally, let me try. Yeah, I do have a photo like this. So as you can see, I covered kind of half of my face, and let's try to understand, will it be able to recognize anything on this photo or not? Yes, as you can see, it was able to find my face and identify it despite I kind of, covered the half of it. I also have a photo like this when I'm covering my mouse. Let me just try this one. Send. Yep, as you can see, even having only the top half of my face, it was still able to recognize it. Perfect. Okay, that was the face detect API, but that's actually doesn't answer uh, the actual question. It doesn't solve the actual purpose. What we were trying to do here, we were trying to create something like a smart IoT doorbell or smart IoT lock. Okay, so what we will need to do, what we will be doing then. So here with the next command, with the next API, I will try to get the list of the person groups. Uh, that list should be empty. Yes, as you can see, I have an empty array here, which basically means that I don't have any person groups. So I will need to create my first person group here. So that person group, how we will call it? We will call it, I don't know, let's say speakers. No, speakers is a bad idea. So let's use transform 2022. So here I'm providing the ID of my face group, and in the body I'm providing the name. So I'm creating a face group with ID transform 2022, and the name will be inhabitants. Let's do that. Okay, HTTP 200. Let's try the previous request again. Yes, now as you can see, I have my first person group. I can create more of them if needed, but for the sake of this demo, the idea is that we can create basically a one person group. That was the reason actually why I call it inhabitants, because then I will be able to add, for example, my photo, the photo of my wife, the photo of, I don't know, probably my parents, and so on and so forth. And therefore, everyone who will be on that list will be allowed to pass. Okay, let's go next. So for now, we have a group, but that group is empty. If I will try to use this API, face person group person list, so I just need to use a different ID here, transform 2022, send. As you can see, this group is empty, so there are no inhabitants so far, which is okay. Let's try to fix it. So how we will be fixing that? I will be adding a first person, transform 2022. That person name will be the overlord. And for now, I'm just creating kind of, an empty person without any photos, and so on. Send. Okay, I have my person ID back, which means that minute, maybe my internet connection is a bit slow, or maybe I'm doing my demo too fast. No, everything is okay. So as you can see now in this group, which is transform 2022, I have a person with the name overlord and with the person ID like this. But as you can see, device IDs are empty. So despite I'm creating a person, okay, that person doesn't have any faces yet. We can do something like Overlord's wife, for example. Not mistaken, should be like this. We'll create a new person just to show, yeah, just to show that everything is working perfectly. So what we can do next Now we need to add the actual face, okay? So how we will be doing that? We will be using a new API called FacePersonGroup@PersonPhoto. So what I will be doing here, first of all, I will be changing the ID of my person's group to transform 2022, and here I need to put the ID of the actual person, and I will be using this ID of the actual overlord. I will be using it here, boom, and I will need to add a face. So I will be using, for example, this photo. Oh, it's 2144. Yep, it's 2144. So I will be adding that photo of myself. Send. Okay, everything seems to be done. But now, look, if I will try to send this command again, it will see that the face ID is here, but still the one more thing that needs to be done, I need to train my model. Okay, so every time I'm doing something with my faces, I need to train my model. Transform 2022, because I need to teach it that something was changed and new faces are there, and so on and so forth. So I'm sending basically this request, the post request, providing the ID of the person groups here. And as you can see, the HTTP status was 202 accepted. And there is another API how I can check the status. Transform 2022, send. It's succeeded. So it took really maybe like a few seconds. Timestamps, it took less than a second to train that model with the new face. Cool. What we can do now we can use the identify APIs. API in my demo. With the identify API, what I will be able to do, I will be able to pick a photo, okay, and say that this guy, or like someone on this photo, is trying to actually get in. What we will need to do here for this API to work, in the URL we need to change nothing, and the person group ID we need to type transform 2022, and here we need to provide the face ID. This is again a bit of a tricky part. So how we can get the face ID, because what I'm actually trying to do, I'm trying to make a photo with the camera, I don't know, like selfie or the cam on my actual IoT device. And I'm actually expecting that here I will be able to use that particular photo, which is not entirely true. So I will need to use the face detect API first. And here, let's use, for now, on the first attempt, we will use the same photo for the face detect. When we will detect this face, we have the face ID from here. And that face ID, if I'm not mistaken, this ID will be stored automatically for something like 24 hours. And I will be able to use that ID for 24 hours to do all of the other queries for face recognitions. So I will copy it from here. I will go to face identify API. I will paste it here. So now we are actually emulating the workflow of the log itself. So I ring the doorbell, the camera takes a photo, that photo was sent to face detect API. I was able to grab the face ID, and now I'm using that face ID to understand, is it someone from the person group transform 2022 or not? Send. And yes, as you can see, this particular face ID is actually this person, and the confidence is 1. Basically, the confidence is 100%. And this person is, as you can see, the ID is F9AE. And if we will go to this one, F9AE, so this is myself, this is the overlord. Okay, let's try to use some other photos. Let's try to use, let's try to use Alex photo. I will copy it. I will paste it here, send. Okay, so as you can see, the system was able to recognize the actual face ID. We will copy it from here. We will go to the identify API, and let's say that Alex is trying to get in. Send. Nope. So the photo is correct. I mean, like there is a face on that photo, but there are no candidates in the group Transform 2022. That's a pity. Okay, let's try to do this. Let's say that both me and Alex were trying to get in. I will copy the ID of this photo. I will go to face detect, paste it here, send. So now I am having 2 face IDs. Okay, that's fine. I can do more than one at the same time. We will go here, so that will be our first person, and that will be our second person. Okay, so let's try to find out, do we have at least one of those guys who is a member of group Transform 2022? Send. Yep. As you can see, for this person, this is probably Alex. For this person, for this face, there are no candidates whatsoever. But for my face, it has a 92% of confidence that this is actually me. Pretty cool. Let's try to use those photos now to basically show you the different confidence score of that model. I will grab the face ID and I will go here, send. Yeah, sorry for that. I was distracted by a call. Yeah, so as you can see here, it still has a pretty much good confidence that this is actually me, but the score here is 81%, which is still okay. And the last but not least, let's try this photo. Face detect. Like this, send. We will have the new ID. I will copy it, identify. I will paste it here, send. Yeah, so here the confidence rate is almost at the bare minimal level. The confidence rate is almost 71% that this is actually me. But that's still pretty cool, actually, because if you remember, I was using only this one photo with this one face to actually teach the model that this is me, basically. Okay, so this is actually a pretty good result, that with only one photo, it was able to recognize me on this photo, on this photo, and on this photo. And again, as I was saying, this is basically the biggest benefit of the cognitive services, and especially the face API, because everything that we did right now, we were able to do hands-on in actually what, less than 30 minutes probably. It's so simple and so easy. And of course, if I want to kind of clean up everything, I can do transform 2022. I can send the delete request. Boom. And now the person groups and everything that goes with it, all of the faces, all of the persons and everything, it was just removed. And yeah, this is basically it. So this is the beauty of it. And before I will actually close this session, because before I will do that, what I want to do, I want to show you here the Face API, the documentation part of it. This one. I was looking for this link. Yeah. So the idea here is that, as I was saying, first of all, you can go through Face Quick Start, and as you can see, there are a lot of examples here with C#, JavaScript, Python, and the REST API as well. And as I was saying, the reason why I was showing you the Postman collection is because it was so easy to work with, because in most of the cases, I was just adding two custom headers, the subscription key and the content type application JSON. All of those URLs that you have here on top, you can easily find them in those examples. They are here in curl, but anyway, even in curl, as you can see, there are quite an easy APIs to recognize. You can also have access to a lot of different samples, and feel free to browse that. As you can see, 47 results for faces. And again, one of the biggest advantages, at least for me, was that the price here is really reasonable, and it's so easy to work with. What I can also say about this Face API technology is that I'm not sure actually, because there were some changes, there were some PR issues with that, but I do remember that, for example, the application that all of you may know, I hope that all of you are aware of the application, like an Uber, they were using the exact this API, not the similar API, but Uber was using exactly the Microsoft Face API technology to validate all of the drivers. So when the driver starts his work day, work shift, whatever, if he wants to open an application and say that, okay, I'm here, I'm ready to accept the new passengers with Uber, he needs to pass his verification using the camera on his phone, and it was backed up by this exact API. So even big companies like Uber were using this API, and they were happy with that. So on that one, I will probably finish my session for today. To be honest, I was also expecting that we will be able to communicate a bit with the audience, maybe ask some questions, or maybe answer me like some questions from my side. I'm not sure is it possible or not. Do we have any way how, I mean, like, do we have any possibilities for the audience to ask any questions? I was checking the Q&A and the Q&A was empty. Okay. In any case, as I was saying again, really easy service, really easy to start with, has free pricing tier. So yeah, I do encourage you to try that because it's so awesome. And on that one, I will finish my session for today. Thanks all of you again for joining us. Thanks for spending this whole day with us, and I wish you the great rest of the day and the good week in general, and hope to see you on our other events as well. Have fun, guys. Bye.